which is why kids today are virtually drones. They just do whatever they're told from the authority. They just follow blindly.
Wow, Kevin Trudeau, long segment coming up, a ton to cover. Let's get more into mind control. Let's get more into the big healthcare tyranny. Stay with us. Wish we could have him for longer, but he's got a bunch of meetings he's got to go off to. But it's great to have you in studio. I hope we can have you each time you come into town.
It'd be my pleasure.
Let me plug some of the websites at naturalcures.com, kevintrudeau.com. And you were telling me during the break you've got a special running this week.
Yeah, at naturalcures.com, I have all 3 of my books, the hardcover, brand new updated editions. Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, More Natural Cures Revealed, and the Weight Loss Cure, plus the new one, the Herpes Cure. It's a $100 value that we sell them. It's all free. They just pay one shipping charge. So if they go to naturalcures.com, they can get all the books, $100 worth of books for free, just one shipping charge.
I want to know about this herpes cure. I mean, that's something that's probably going to sell.
Well, let me give you the Reader's Digest on this real quick. The herpes virus is in the body when 80% of people have the herpes virus, either genital herpes, cold sores, or shingles.
Well, I've heard it's the same thing that's on your lips.
Yeah, it's a herpes. There's like 8 different strains of herpetic viruses. But these viruses are very bad because they get into the central nervous system and they really bring you down emotionally. They affect metabolism, weight gain, irritability, all types of problems, and they get worse over time. So if you don't get rid of it, which you can't unless you do something, it stays. So the drug companies love this because they say there is no cure for herpes. And people take a drug every day for the rest of their life to kind of reduce the outbreaks. But in New Zealand, and there was a doctor in Africa who developed a cure for malaria. They figured out a way to cure, completely eradicate the herpes virus. It takes about 30 days. It's very inexpensive. And in 30 days, you never have a breakout ever again. And about 90 days later, your body is completely free of the virus. You can go to a doctor, get a blood test, and they'll run the antibody test. 90% of the people show negative for the herpes virus. Now, that is biologically impossible according to medical doctors. But it is absolutely a breakthrough. When I came out with this, I don't sell it. I don't sell any vitamins. Other companies sell it. It's not patented. So I have a report called the Herpes Cure where I give people, this is where you buy it. It's inexpensive, and it works. And that's how I can make those claims. Now, the guy who sells it doesn't say it's a herpes cure because he'd go to jail. Because in America, the FDA, which passes laws, people don't know that the FDA passes laws, not Congress. There's 1 million laws in America. The FDA passed a law. They wrote their own law, and it says only a drug can be used to treat, prevent, or cure a disease. Which means if I say an orange cures scurvy, I go to prison. That's illegal in America.
And it absolutely does cure it.
We know it does. And we know that food for centuries has been the cure for disease. We know for centuries the reason people got sick is they were malnourished. What was the cure for every disease? When the guy came in, oh, he's very sick, give him food. It was always feed him because food provides nutrients which allow the body to heal itself.
Garlic, the minority groups that ate more garlic than other groups in Europe, they didn't die from the Black Plague. Everybody else did.
Correct. So we know food and nutritional deficiencies cause disease, and by eating and getting the proper nutrition, you can basically cure yourself of disease. We know now that toxicity, primarily from drugs, both non-prescription and prescription, cause disease. And we know the drug companies lie about the efficacy of their drugs and the safety. We know this. I reported on it. Now it's coming out. Drug companies write letters saying how wonderful their drug is. They go to a professor at the medical school and say, sign this letter as if it's coming from you, and we'll pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's fraud. It's fraud. It's payoffs and bribes. They pay researchers to make up false reports on research about the efficacy. Cough syrup last year. For years, take your Robitussin, take your whatever for cough suppressant. Now we find out that cough syrup doesn't suppress a cough. It doesn't even work. And now we find out that the cough syrup increases asthma and allergies in kids. The Centers for Disease Control came out 5 days ago and said the number of children getting allergies is rising at an alarming rate, a pandemic rate, or an epidemic rate, because it's in America, and we don't know why. Well, we do know why. Nutritional deficiencies and genetically modified food and all the chemicals in the food. We know why. So all these things are happening, and people need to know that there are simple solutions they don't have to be overwhelmed.
But they don't want that. The establishment doesn't want that because obviously the sicker we are, it's simple. 2 + 2 = 4. They can sell us more of their deadly drugs.
That's exactly.
Then we get sicker, even more drugs.
Well, if you never notice when a disease comes out to the forefront and it's on the news, oh, there's a new disease, restless leg syndrome, or there's a new disease, acid reflux disease. When it comes out, guess what? At the same time, isn't it interesting that there's a drug already approved on the market? Right at that same
Well, it's simple. This is the medical tyranny. They get everyone on drugs, put chemicals in the food and water, the GMO. Everybody gets sick. And then the society goes bankrupt. The government takes over health care. And now the government is the arbiter of life and death. This is the ultimate priest class wanting people dependent. And we have the government textbooks, the government documents. We've covered them ad nauseum, how they would use the medical tyranny to carry out this forced population reduction. And so how can we have a government writing textbooks like Eco-Science with the White House science czar saying they want to kill us through the vaccines, water, and food, and then now we're going to trust only the approved drugs and products that come down from the eugenicists that say they detest us.
It's comical. And here's the thing. This new health care bill that's going through Congress that became 1,000 pages, now it's 2,000 pages. If people actually read it, one of the things that's in there, which people aren't even discussing, is if this is passed, what's going to occur, Alex, is when you go to your doctor, you are going to be required to go to your MD. Not your chiropractor, not your homeopathic doctor, not the doctor of your choice. You're going to be required to go to the government-approved doctor, which is the MD. That's number one. You're required.
And they're going to decide what tests you get.
And here's the thing. When that doctor says, here's your cholesterol medication, and you say, no, I don't want that, guess what? You don't have a choice. You have to take the drug.
And you have to buy insurance and have 2.5 to 5%, depending on your tax bracket, taken out of your check. That's only the beginning.
Correct. It's basically mandating from cradle to grave what goes in your body, what drugs and what surgical procedures, and this is perfect in terms of controlling the population. It is perfect. It's exactly why do you think this is being rushed through? It isn't to protect anybody or help anybody. It's to make sure that everybody now gets in line, all the sheep will get in line, and they get their drugs, get their vaccines, get their shots, and it reduces, for example, plastics in drugs. Plastic, BPA plastics are being put in drugs specifically for no reason. But now we find out...
Oh, by the way, that Kevin Trudeau is not just saying this. That was all over the news this week, that they don't know why all these different drug makers are adding toxic plastics.
They don't know why. Well, it's very simple. Because they also discovered, and it was reported, that these plastics feminize men. Now, let me give you the definition of feminize. It basically takes the initiative or aggressive nature away from the man. It makes him more fat, higher body percentage of fat, but reduces his initiative. He has no more aggressive nature. What are you doing? You're making sure that your men don't revolt. It is specifically done to reduce the man's ability to fight back.
Well, I can list them all here, but that's in Eco-Science. That's in the Japanese government, 7 months ago proposed putting calmative drugs in the water. And they're openly now broaching this because they're already doing it.
Exactly. So when people start saying, for example, when they come to me and go, oh, you're the snake oil salesman. Here's the book, Natural Cures. It's 597 pages.
And you're against people drinking fluoridated water, so you're bad.
Exactly. Now, in Europe, by the way, they don't have fluoride in the water because the European court actually announced that fluoride in the water is a deadly poison.
How do the French eat more unhealthy foods, smoke cigarettes, and
stay thin?
And stay thin and live longer.
Here's the reason why. The meat over there, for example, the cows eat grass. They don't eat genetically modified corn. The dairy products come from cows that eat grass, not genetically modified corn. The cows over there are not injected with bovine growth hormone. The food over there is not genetically modified. If you have a cucumber or a tomato, it tastes like a cucumber or a tomato. In America, virtually all of our food supply has been genetically modified, and the cows and the dairy have bovine growth hormone. And this genetically modification by Monsanto primarily in Cargill is designed to make people fat and make people slower mentally.
And what's the one country in Europe that has the same statistics that we do and all the other European countries don't for unhealthiness? It's England. Exactly. England has adopted this, and they've got the same growth curve in diabetes and in cancer and in obesity and in everything.
Well, this is why national health care or national health insurance in America won't work. If you go to Sweden or Switzerland, for example, where every single person has a insurance plan that the government pays for, so the taxpayers put in. First off, they don't have any homeless people. They don't have any people that aren't paying taxes. Everybody's virtually employed over there, especially in, let's say, Switzerland. But the other thing is this. the people there don't go to doctors. They're not very sick. So if you were to take the people in America and throw them over into Switzerland, the rates that those Swiss pay in terms of national health insurance would triple because the people are sicker. So over there, the people aren't that sick. In America, they're all sick. The other reason is the drug costs and the surgical procedures in America. The drug companies charge anywhere from 5 to 10 times more than they do in Sweden or Norway or Switzerland. So when you go to a national health insurance here, it is absolutely going to bankrupt this country, but not really. What it's going to do is it's designed to do two things. To, number one, get people on drugs nonstop, and number two, get their premium so high that we virtually turn them into indentured servants. Now, every American citizen has to work just to pay for the insurance premium.
Now, again, we have the government documents. We have the white papers in the U.S. and England going back to the 20s, Bertrand Russell and others.